All right, everybody, welcome to the Smith and Rowland Show.
Good afternoon and morning or whatever time.
Yeah. And boy, I tell you what, we're like every week we're having special guests. And
yes, we are.
I think this is probably one of the most anticipated special guests that we've had.
Without any doubt.
We have the one and only Mr. Stanley Elliott.
That really brings fear upon me. We're not supposed to be in fear.
You're as safe as if you was in your mother's arms with me and Alan. I want you to know that.
Well, I even feel a little bad about you saying that, but
well,
yes, I agree.
sort of do too. Sometimes it's better to get, easier to get permission
than forgiveness or something.
Like
yeah, it's backwards, but yeah.
It might be, yeah. Probably is.
It usually is. But yeah, so we got Andy Elliott here with us. He is the owner, guitar builder, luthier at Elliott Guitars. Probably builds more guitars for the worship industry than about anybody out there.
That's right. That's right.
At least some of the best ones, at least.
That's right.
But Andy's here. We're going to be talking about the worship community, about worship in general, where worship is in the church, and we're going to have a lot of good topics here. So make sure you stick around. If you're a new listener here at the Smith and Rowland Show, make sure you go check us out at thekingdompropheticsociety.org.
That's right.
That'll be where you'll find all the information. You can even talk to Jeff if you would like on there.
Yeah, and that's what normally people do request that, and because the eloquence in my voice.
Yeah, I can
you know
tell.
what I'm saying. The tone and tenor of my voice just seems.
And how can they find Andy on there?
Andy, you will find him over at elliottguitarsnc.com, and his social media links are on there as well. He is a very active social media guy.
Okay.
Wow.
I got a lot to live up to here, Andy.
I don't even know how to check it.
I totally get that.
I have people for that.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, we'll get your people in touch with my people, and we'll do lunch sometime. That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, we're excited to have Andy here with us. But yeah, Alan and Jeff, you take it away.
Alan, how long have you known Andy?
I've known Andy for years.
Years like in
decades.
Probably 12, 13, 14.
No, probably 40 years.
Well,
yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm saying since he was 12, 13.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Alan did not take his medicine earlier today. He's a little behind. So for 30 or 40 years, y'all have known each other.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, longer than 40 years because I'm old now.
That's right.
I mean, older than dirt. I wasn't going to bring it up, but Andy, I mean, good.
You saw me
grief.
get up a while ago.
That was awful.
You know, I remember a day when Andy found out or realized that he was old enough to be my father.
Oh, God.
That's terrible.
I still remember that.
This is the fear I was talking about.
You know, there's a lot of significance to you building guitars, and there's biblical significance to those that built their own instruments. Mm-hmm. And I think that's almost a lost art today, isn't it? I mean, to have Luthers like you out there that's building instruments, especially for worship people. And I wanted you to speak to that for just a minute, if you could, because I know that significance. It carries a spiritual responsibility, in my opinion.
Yeah, it does.
It sure did in the Old Testament.
Yeah, it did.
And,
It really does, even if you aren't doing it for the Lord, it's still spiritual.
yeah, exactly.
I think, personally, I think all music is spiritual. I have a really unnatural love for guitars.
Mm-hmm.
And I always had it as far back as I can remember. It was one of the, I mean, I know throughout your life something, if you're a mechanic, there's some engine or some mechanical thing that fascinates you.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah.
Guitars fascinated me even before I ever held a really good guitar. They were fascinating to me. And, you know, growing up, my dad always listened to, back in the old days, you had back in the days of vinyl, you had a big stereo system in the center of the house.
Right, yeah.
Daddy would come home from work and sit in a rocking chair, and he would listen to country music.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And even though it wasn't my favorite kind of music, I was mesmerized.
Yeah.
And I loved it, you know, and I started even when I didn't understand it, I liked music, and I didn't know how to play, didn't have a clue that I ever could play.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just always around music, and back then you used to go to the record stores.
Yeah.
Like we'd go to the beach, there was record stores everywhere. You remember that, like down on the pavilion.
Right.
And they would just go from record store to record store buying all these records. So music was always there, and I just fell in love with music.
What about that?
And
so it was like God was leading you in that direction of music. He put it in you. He placed it in you.
And I liked all kinds of music because of that.
Yeah.
I wasn't like stuck on one thing.
So that's intriguing to me. We talked, Alan, what was the podcast we did? Maybe it was an Unplugged. We never quite got there, I don't think, with Don Potter last week being here. But that's always been an intriguing thing to me, is expressions, various expressions in music.
Mm-hmm.
And because I do believe that God can use any expression that comes out of someone from the sincerity of their heart, And so that intrigues me that you was as good with...
I got it back.
You was as good with country music as you was any other expression.
Just anything. And I remember when I was also real young, my aunt would ask me to, I'm good now, it was my connection here, to go down to the Tabernacle and sit in and play guitar, and it was Southern gospel.
Mm-hmm.
Good learning experience, because I couldn't keep up. I mean, there wasn't no way. My aunt can tear an organ up.
Yeah.
My other cousin could tear a piano up like Jimmy Swaggart. And there wasn't no chance that I was going to keep up, but they would always ask me to go down there and do that. And I loved just the chance to get to play something.
Yeah, to play some music. What about that?
And so I love music. And like I said, almost an obsession with it. And I always had a desire to build things and to build guitars, but honestly, I thought there was no way that could ever happen.
Yeah.
And because there's just so much that I didn't know, and
how many years have you been building now, Andy? Since
about 15 years, since
when
2005.
You started, didn't you go up north or something?
Yeah.
Or what was
it? Was really, the Lord was in that. I wanted to go to a Lutheran school because when I looked into building guitars, a lot of the electric guitar schools and stuff, to be honest with you, they were pretty lame. Their concept behind building an electric guitar, it was like, oh, you just build this way and you put these pickups in it if you want to sound like that. That was the extent of tonal research they did. And you study these acoustic builders and archtop builders, like they were so fanatical about how you get this guitar to resonate, how you get this, you build the neck like this type of construction, you do this with the grain and this and that. And I'm like, that's what I want to know. Even though I wasn't going to build those types of guitars, I wanted to take that.
You mean a non-electric guitar, just regular?
I just wanted that knowledge
of the wood
manipulation.
Yeah.
And so I went to acoustic building school and archtop building school, and it was really expensive, and I almost didn't do it. And my wife said, if you're going to do this, you need to go ahead and do it.
Right.
And man, I'm so glad I did, because just right after I got through with the second class is when Peter Stroud got in contact with me.
Oh.
And if I hadn't done that, I don't think I would have been able to build a guitar on the level that
you are
would
today.
have interested him.
Yeah, so
about that?
I'd say probably a lot of people don't know who that is unless you're in the guitar world. But Peter Stroud's one of the probably one of the most admired guitar players
Mr.
in
Tone.
music. Mr. Tone's what they call him.
Yeah.
But he's Sheryl Crow's guitar player. He played for Sarah McLachlan for quite a few years.
Tom
Stevie
Felder,
Nicks.
Wow.
So he's been around. He's actually a North Carolina guy as well.
Yep.
Oh, is he really?
Yep.
And he's where now, in Georgia?
Yeah, in Atlanta.
In Atlanta.
Super guy.
Now, you actually build one with his name on it,
Yeah.
Is that right?
We do a signature guitar. He I remember right after when I built him the first guitar, my sister went with me, and Ken Hoover used to own Zion Guitars. he knew Peter. That was my connection to Peter was through Ken. And on the way down there, I almost just didn't go. I was sick on my stomach. I was like having to stop at every rest area. I was nervous, and I said, well, who do I think I am that I can build a guitar? And I was just scared to death to take him a guitar. And we got there, and him and his wife was just so nice. They were like taking pictures of us.
Really?
Like we were the rock stars.
What about that?
And they just couldn't have been any nicer. And then he turned out he liked the guitar.
Well, that's great.
And he suggested maybe we do a signature guitar. He called me up one day and said, I just want to help you any way I can.
What about
to help you build your business. And he's never charged me anything. You couldn't buy what he's done.
Yeah.
Right.
What about
And that's why I know it was the Lord.
Yeah. So God opened that door,
Yeah.
and you build guitars for other people in the worship industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andy, what was the first big worship person you built guitar for? Who was that? I'm trying to remember. I can't remember.
I can't even think of it now.
There's been so many of
Actually, Jason, you used to.
I used to
help,
work with Andy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Andy.
Jason used to.
Yeah.
Jason helped
Jason
get me into
worked
the
for
CNC world.
Yeah.
You've got to be kidding. You actually hung out with Jason?
Well, Jason, he was at the shop a lot.
Yeah.
And that didn't.
Well, that's being nice.
and you mean to tell me that didn't corrupt the shop or nothing? Him being there?
No,
They had a good time.
yeah, we had some life experiences.
Yeah.
We got introduced to NAM. Me and Jason went
Mm-hmm.
to California the first time. Oh,
I want to tell my favorite NAM story.
Oh,
okay?
no. Oh,
this is
no.
not politically correct.
The
at
show
all.
has run off